Another very important factor to consider is the impedance of the speaker. We usually think of this in terms of nominal impedance, such as 4 ohms, 8 ohms, etc., but you should be aware that a speaker's actual impedance is not constant across all frequencies. For instance, an 8-ohm woofer might measure 6 ohms in the mid-range, 20 ohms at a bass resonance, and 10 ohms in the highs. And this matters because the cable and speaker are an interconnected system. Ohm's law states that for the same voltage, a lower resistance or impedance means more current will flow. Therefore, 4-ohm speakers demand twice as much current as 8-ohm speakers at the same output level, assuming all else is equal. And more current through the same cable means more voltage is lost in the cable's resistance, so the loss is more noticeable with low impedance speakers. For example, 0.2 ohms of cable resistance is only 2.5% of an 8-ohm load, but it's 5% of a 4-ohm load, twice the power loss. For this reason, it's recommended to use thicker wire for 4-ohm speakers compared to 8-ohm speakers. As an example, with a 50-foot run of 16-gauge wire, you might lose only 2% of amplifier power with an 8-ohm speaker, but you could lose 4% or more with a 4-ohm speaker. And this could manifest as a drop in headroom or decreased clarity at high levels. I'm going to show you an updated chart that factors in the speaker impedance in a moment, but first I need to mention another important part of this discussion, which has to do with inductance. This is another reason that in long cable runs, especially with high impedance dips, thicker cable can help preserve high frequency detail. Any two conductors running in parallel, like a speaker cable, will act as an inductor, which resists changes in current, especially at high frequencies. The longer the cable, the more inductance it has, and the more it will roll off the highs. Twisting the conductors reduces inductance by achieving more effective magnetic field cancellation, and thicker wire also helps because larger conductors will have slightly lower inductance. I tell you all of this because on very long runs, the inductance plus the speaker's impedance curve can create small bumps or dips in the frequency response of the system. In fact, sometimes the combined impedance of the speaker and the cable at a specific frequency can be lower than the theoretical impedance with no cable at all, potentially giving you a slight boost at certain frequencies. This is rarely a concern for home setups, but in pro audio with very long cable runs, it's something to be aware of. Let me quickly show you a recommendation chart that offers a general look at what we've discussed so far. After that, I'll share with you a few other buying tips that will make your system safer and easier to install. Take a screenshot of this chart that shows wire gauge recommendations based on different combinations of system type, speaker impedance, and cable length. And as you look at this chart, note that it's wise to size slightly thicker than the minimum if budget and flexibility allow. You can also view this chart at audiouniversityonline.com/speakerwire.